they've gone through some of these stages, okay? Ask them questions. You might know kids that already go here. Ask their parents. PTSA parents are everywhere. They're always willing to help. Ask them. You can always talk to Ms. Peterson, my right hand. Okay, that's Ms. Peterson in the main office. She's the office manager. You can ask her, you can call, you can email her. Always go to the teachers, okay? It fascinates me that parents or kids have questions about a class and they ask me. So then what do I have to do? Ask the teacher. I don't know. You ask the teacher first. And then, of course, if you're not getting anywhere, you can always ask me. I don't mind if you email me. Okay, email is the best way to get me. I'm not always in my office. And I will always write you back. If I don't write you back in 48 hours, don't take it personally. Just write me again. You get quite a few emails. I'm not sitting at my desk all day. Okay? Make sure you get your questions answered. The worst thing is you sit there for a month wondering something and you didn't ask anyone. Okay? ICS is a very small school, but it's actually pretty complicated. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot happening for such a small group of students and staff. Okay? You're going to have questions. Make sure you ask. So here's what you can expect. Unforgettable lifetime friendships. ICS is a small school, 440 kids. There's only 66 graders. So imagine, it's kind of funny. You maybe know 3 people in the room right now, besides your parents. Kids, talking to kids. But very soon, you're going to know everybody in the room. And that's in the first year. So how well do you know each other after 7 years? Okay? Your family. And when we talk to alumni, when they come back, and at graduation, you always hear the number one, they say the number one thing is the friendships that they make. So that is great. Top caliber teachers, the best teachers on the planet are in the building. You are lucky. We're all lucky that we have that. Supportive community, we've talked about that. Parents help each other, the staff helps each other, helps everybody, and PTSA. Tremendous academic progress. Your kids are going to be on a trajectory that they've probably not been on before. So the learning trajectory is going to be sharp. Social and emotional flourishment. You're going to blossom. And then Focus Week. We talked about Focus Week at Information Night. You had a student speaker talk about it. And just a reminder, Focus Week is 1 week in May, right? It's the last week in May. And we put everything on hold and the students do something completely different for a week. So some examples for this year, there's Seattle International Film Festival, there's international cooking, there's a trip to Italy, there's a trip to Los Angeles. There's the, what do you call it? Mr. Elliott has a movie, history movies, right? So it's movies, but they're all history-based. There's a trip to the zoo. There's a trip to Tahiti. I know that sounds kind of interesting. The Tahiti trip is not to just lay on the beach and get some sun. They're actually doing Polynesian history and art, but also science. And one of the Tahitian islands is actually the one that Marlon Brando owned. You know that story. It's been preserved in its natural state. So the birds and the fish and the turtles have been untouched. So we're going there to do science experiments and to see that. Cool. So that's Focus Week. Kids don't travel every year, but every kid will travel before they leave if they want to. Yes?
Whether you're offering for all 3 levels, or is it
Good question. Some Focus Weeks are for high school only, but most are for everybody. Tahiti, if you're curious, is for everybody. There are lots of field trips throughout the year. My expectation is every grade level goes on 2 field trips a year, 1 in the fall, 1 in the spring. Some teachers do more than that. That's the minimum. A lot of great things happen in this building, and at the same time I tell them, get out of the building. Here we go. So if you're an ICS student, you need to read this carefully. This is what you can expect. You'll be asked to meet high expectations. You will have a lot of homework. You will. But it'll be meaningful homework. Okay? How much homework will you have? Some kids say, I hear there's 6 hours of homework every night. And my answer is, it depends. Because for another kid, that might actually take up 8 hours. But for another kid, it might take them 2 hours. And my favorite story, I think I might have said this at information night, is a parent came to me and said, what is going on? This place is crazy. My kid has a test tomorrow, they have an essay due tomorrow, and they have a project due tomorrow. My kid's not going to get any sleep tonight. And I said, well, that's too bad. That essay was assigned a month ago, and that project was assigned 3 weeks ago. And it's too bad your kid waited until today to get started. Okay? Now, if you liked what you just heard, cool. If you're a 5th grader and you heard, wow, I have a mean principal, that's something that we're going to need to work out. Complain about at least one teacher. Guaranteed, your kid's going to complain about one teacher. For sure. I had a teacher tell the class, it is not okay for you to wait till the last second to get started. You have to do your homework tonight. If you don't do your homework, you're not going to get better at what we're working on. You know what that kid told the parent? My teacher is mean. If that's mean, then yeah, I got some mean teachers. Okay? The point I'm trying to make is, when you complain, then parents only have their kids' story, right? You got mean teachers that are picking on the kids. Yeah, we pick on the ones that don't do their work by reminding them that it's important to do. If that's mean and picking on them, you got to find your way to interpret that. You will get a very high quality education. There's no question about that. Every year, 100% go to college. The college acceptances are coming in now. It's very exciting. We're hearing right and left of kids getting into the schools that they wanted to get into, and that's huge. So here's my advice. Just do your very best. That is good enough. Do your very best. Don't try to compete with the kid next to you, and hang in there. Okay? All right. Parents, I got a slide for you too. If you're an ICS parent, you will see your kids stressed out. We're not trying to stress your kid out, but kids get stressed when they've been pushed farther than they've ever been pushed before. And I guarantee you, we're going to push your kid farther than they've ever been pushed before. Right? Elementary is a really nice, wonderful, kind of supportive, loving environment. And so is this school, but it's different. Okay? So your kid's going to get stressed out, and they're going to struggle at some point. Some kids struggle the first week of school. Some kids don't struggle until 9th grade. But every kid that comes to this school will struggle at some point in something. And I had a parent say, I'm pulling my kid out. How come? Because I can't take it anymore seeing them stressed out and struggling. The kid was actually fine. The kid was enjoying the challenge, but the parent couldn't take it anymore. There's a lot of parents here that are working through this. You're going to have to work through it too. It doesn't mean there's a problem. It means we're all, on the adventure together. And parents are a key part of it. You're going to disagree with at least one teacher. Maybe one teacher per year. For sure. It doesn't mean that this is a bad school, or that that's a bad teacher, that you're a bad parent. It's just part of the journey. So expect it. Okay? And if that's happening, email the parent, email me, and we'll work through it together. You're going to see your student grow. Your student can't grow if we don't push them. And when we push them, you need to be there to support them, along with us. That's how it goes. Okay? Encourage your students to do their best, and trust the school. Trust the school. Trust the school. If we weren't doing a good job, we'd be out of business. If we weren't doing a good job, we wouldn't be ranked #1 in the state. If we weren't doing a good job, 100% of our kids wouldn't go to college every year. Or Robert's daughter wouldn't have gone into Stanford. Congratulations, by the way. Rachel went to Stanford. Trust the school. Here's the secret. The school is not perfect. Now it's not a secret anymore. The school is not perfect. Neither am I, neither are you, neither is your kid. but we're all working to make it as good as we can. We're all on the same team. We trust the school. Let's work together. What else we got? So what does it take? Oh, question. Let's go back.
Just curious, how many, on average, how many people are on ICS?
Every year we have about 10 kids leave. It's not 10 from the same grade level. We have about 10 leave. And we start with 60 and approximately 10% leave, so graduating classes are around 54. Yep. I had a kid tell me yesterday, I'm leaving, I'm going to Juanita High School. How come? Because I'm going to be swimming on the swim team. Great, you can still go to school here and swim there. Yeah, but they got a lot more kids. Did you know that when you applied here? Yeah, I knew that, but I didn't know that I needed that. Interesting, right? So sometimes that happens where a student comes, that kid, by the way, had straight A's. So they're not having too much problem with the academics. You know, they were challenged, but they rose up to it. But they realized after a couple of years, this is not the best fit for them. That's okay. The part that I get worked up about is if you know that now. If you really know now that you're planning to be here just for middle school, because this is the best middle school in the business, great. Don't come here, because you're taking the spot of somebody else that might stay the whole time. But if you genuinely think this is the best spot and that changes at some point, that's okay. Yes?
So when you say stressed out, why you say stressed out is that because of amount of work or because amount of competition between kids?
Both. The stress comes from a lot of different reasons. One of the main causes of stress is the parents, right? I had a student come to me and say, I have a 91% in biology. That's an A. But for my parents, it's not good enough. I need to get a 98%, which is an A. Don't do that to your kid. That's not cool and that's not fair. And getting a 92% in biology at this school is pretty darn good. Okay? So that's one cause of stress as parents. But another cause is the peer pressure competition. That's why I say, just do your best, that's good enough. Don't compare yourself to the kid next to you. Work together and support each other and help each other. Right? The teachers do their best to not cause the stress. But in the example of the kid who procrastinated, that's not really the teacher's fault. We do have rules amongst the staff that kids can only have 2 tests on a particular day. They can't have 4 tests on the same day, that kind of thing. But they might have 2 tests 2 days in a row. There are a couple 6th grade parents who have said to me, it's not hard enough. My kid's bored. And the answer is, enjoy that. Because it doesn't last past 6th grade. And that's a handful of parents, right? So that's not the common 6th grade experience, but it does happen. That's not the common experience. Question?
Yeah. So you mentioned the school has high academic grade. The question is, does that in some ways hurt their ability to go to better colleges because they are held at the standard?
So I'm gonna, this is a great opportunity. I can videotape my answer because this is the number 1 question that I get, which is the school is hard and that's great. The kid will, the school will push your kid, which is great. They're going to develop skills and all that, which is great. But at the end of the day, if they're getting B's, is that better? Is it worth it than going to a different high school where it's easier and then you get all A's in the same classes or something like that? We feel it's worth it. It's worth it to get a better education, in our opinion, and fight those battles and get the B's and go somewhere else and get the A's. Colleges that we apply to, that the kids apply to know that, All right, they know the rigor of the school, and our kids get it. So we're not seeing our kids not getting in where a different high school, those kids get in. The other part where the rigor shows up is in the SAT scores, and our kids' SAT scores are hundreds of points higher than other kids. Now, if your kid is getting C's, that's not good. They're not going to get into UW with all C's, you know. So there is a point where it doesn't work in the benefit. Okay, let's move on. So what does it take to be successful? Here's the list. Your kid needs to have grit, optimism, confidence, resiliency, and persistence. Your kid is going to get knocked down. Students, you're going to get knocked down academically, not physically. No one's going to push you, right? Physically, but they're going to push you academically, and sometimes you're going to fall. You're going to get knocked down. The question is, how do you respond to that? And if you respond in a positive way through these means, you'll make it, and you'll be fine. Does anybody know, students, does any student know what grit means? I'm not talking about John Lee. I talked to you earlier. I didn't talk to you yet. Hard work, yeah, part of grit is hard work. What else does it mean? My friend in the corner. Perseverance, yeah, that's part of it. Here's the kind of formal definition. Firmness of character, indomitable spirit, resolution, fortitude, and courage. You're going to get knocked down. We all do. I get knocked down too. You think I just sit in my little palace all day? I don't. I get knocked down all the time. So do the teachers, so do the parents, so do the kids. We all need grit. Okay? So there's your definition. It's the ability and the willingness to keep getting up. All right, so what should you do this summer? Have fun. It's the number one thing you should do is have fun. Have fun, do what you love, do something cool, enjoy your hobbies, enjoy the sunshine, have fun. And then the other 1% of the time, do that 99% of the time. The other 1%, you should exercise, we talked about that. Read something interesting. You don't need to read certain books. Read whatever you want. Read what you love to read. But read so your eyes, you know, don't forget how to move. Practice your typing, we talked about that. There will be a math packet. And it'll be online on the ICS website. I'll make sure you get it in June. You are expected to complete that before school starts. How about supplies? I get emails all the time from kids, which I think is cool. What do I need for school? And I get them, in August. Here's what we do for you. We are going to buy your supplies for you. So we're going to make sure you have everything you need, and then you pay us for that. So we don't buy them for you and then don't charge you. We do charge you. It's like $20. But we make sure you have all the binders and everything that you need. So you don't need to buy any supplies. Right? You buy them. Questions about this? Yes?
Do you give a packet for every grade, or is it just for the incoming 6th grade?
The math packet is only for the 6th grade, but for other grades there are reading assignments during the summer, especially as the kids get older, and especially as they take the college level classes, the AP classes. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
How about any assessment?
The only assessment test is the math placement test, and that's the first week of school.
What if you already have your supplies that you used for last year? Is it okay if we bring those?
Yes. But you might be required to have additional things, and we will get those for you. If you got your favorite mechanical pencil, you can still use it. Okay. That's it. We're glad you're here. I know that's kind of a lot of info, right? It's not just to scare you, it's kind of the reality check of this school. And as I mentioned, I hope that that is music to your ears and you're like, I'm lucky to be here. This is what a great opportunity. This is wonderful. Thank you. Woohoo! Okay? But if you're walking out of here, the majority of what you're thinking is, I don't know. You should email me and we should talk. Because it's a big commitment and we get that. And so hopefully you've heard things that you know and love. We're going to get moving. So I do see hands. And I'm going to take questions as Fran is getting ready. By the way, how many of you 6 years have made a present? This is called a Prezi. This kind of presentation is called a Prezi. So you'll learn how to make a Prezi, I think in 6th grade. Just another way to use it. So it has Fran, yep, perfect. It's all set. I'll take those 2 questions. No. Can you record the classes? The answer is no. The answer is no, because you would have to get every student's permission and every parent's permission, and we don't do that. There are times when we know we're recording, right? That's different. If you want to just record so you can watch it later to review the lesson and things like that, the answer is no.
What's the bird on the symbols like the phoenix?
It is a phoenix, and that's our mascot. Does anyone know what a phoenix is? What's a phoenix? Flaming bird rose from the ashes. Okay, I turned my mic off prematurely. I'll be around for questions later because I want to get Fran started. So Fran is the co-president of the PTSA, and she has a separate presentation for you, which is geared for everybody, especially for the parents. So Fran,
Okay, I really don't like mics, so I'll do the best that I can. So, thanks everyone for turning out today. I am the co-president of the PTSA. I'm actually the outgoing president. I have a senior, so it hasn't been super long since I sat in your chair, but the time definitely flies. And I have another co-president, Jeff Holzhauer, who could not be here today, and he will be continuing with you guys next year. So I'm going to go over some of the key areas of what the PTSA does, and then if you have questions for me or any of the other PTSA folks in the audience, feel free to ask us at the end. So, I know I'm echoing. So the PTSA has...
Just a little bit farther away.
Okay, the PTSA has 4 major functions. So the first thing we do is fundraising, and for those of you who are going to other district schools, you're probably used to fundraising, but our model is very different. And then we also, then we also have a whole volunteering component. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We also have, the PTSA also is responsible for running a variety of activities and clubs. And lastly, we also are responsible for communicating with parents and helping parents know what's going on in the school. So those are the 4 areas, and I'll go into more detail. Okay, so fundraising. So ICS does not have an auction. And I don't know about any of you guys, but I've been in schools with... Loaded.
But then you can step away from the speaker.
A little bit farther from, just a little bit farther from you.
All right, I'm not going to have it vibrate anymore. So we don't have an auction. So what we do is we collect $200 from everybody at the beginning of school. So it's very simple. We just, at registration, everyone brings in their check, and we have our funding for the full year. So there's no other fundraising activities, like I said, no auction, anything like that. We also have other fundraising opportunities. One is matching funds. So if you work for a company that matches donations, you can apply for matching funds, such as companies like Microsoft, Google, Expedia, Boeing, so a lot of the standard companies in the area. And that funds a big chunk of our extra money for the year. I think it's about 30% of our additional funds come from matching funds. You can also match hours. So if you're volunteering, you can also match your hours via those companies. And then we also have passive fundraising opportunities. So if you shop at Safeway or Bartell's or the Part-2 store in Redmond, you can help bring money to the school when you're shopping for goods and services at those stores. So those are the 3 major areas. And then the last thing I want to say is we do offer scholarships. So there are some families that, for $200 is a lot of money for them for that given year. There are extenuating circumstances. Maybe, someone in the family is sick, or, mom or dad lost a job. So there is scholarship money available if the $200 is too much for your family. And Dr. Livingston is the one who administers the scholarships. So definitely be contacting him if that's an issue for your family. Okay, so then volunteering. So for those who went to Info Night, you all heard that we have a 30-hour volunteer commitment for the family, so not individually, and that's a required 30 hours. A lot of people do more than the 30 hours. This year, I have definitely done more than 30 hours, and we love that, because the more hours we have, the more things we can do. And we have opportunities all times of the day. So if you work full-time, there are things at night. If you don't like to come to school, you can do things at home. There's something for everybody to do. And there's not a limit on the things we can do. So the more people we have doing stuff, the more things we can do for the school and for the students. So definitely the volunteering is a really important component of what we do as a school. You sign up for volunteer opportunities in the fall when you register. So there's an online website, and you can pick the things you want to sign up for. Please pick the things that you really want to do. We had a couple of parents this past fall that signed up for every single committee. Obviously, they're not going to be working on every committee, so it's kind of hard to know who our real volunteers were. So definitely sign up in the fall. And then we track the hours that people give during the year, and there's a way for you to input how many hours you've done. It's all in the honor system, but we do keep track of that. So that's the volunteering piece. And it really is the way to make the school what it is. So you'll see when I go through all the clubs and activities, a lot of these things are run by parents, and if we don't have parents to do them, then it can't happen. Okay, so communication. We have monthly parent meetings, which I know a lot of the schools have quarterly, or they have once a semester. We actually have monthly meetings. Dr. Livingston goes to every single meeting, and he presents an update on what's going on at the school, so it's important for parents to come. We also have a student government leader present, as well as different PTSA representatives. So it's a good way to learn what's going on and be in touch. The other things we do a weekly newsletter. So every single week we publish a newsletter. When you all checked in, we checked everyone's email. We will be uploading those emails to our weekly newsletter, and you'll start getting newsletters over the summer, so you know what's going on for registration. We also publish a directory. We might do our directory online this year, but we do have a directory of all the students and their families. And there's an ICS school website. You may want to check that out over the summer, or even in the next couple of months, and that's the website address. And we have a separate PTSA website. So feel free to go on to either website, travel around, see what's up there, and learn more about the school. And then we use standard district tools like Parent Access, Haiku. Email works really well for getting in touch with teachers. Obviously, if there's an emergency, you need to get in touch with the school has a phone number, but to get in touch with teachers, email definitely is the best way to communicate. Okay, so in terms of activities, so there's a lot of activities at ICS. The PTSA runs some of them, and the school and the students run some as well. We actually, we go till 12th grade, so we're high school, and when you get to, the older grades, a lot of the students are very capable of running activities, so there are some things that are student-run as well. For PTSA activities, these are some of the key ones. So we recently started two new clubs, robotics and chess, and we are trying to get to the competitive level that the other schools have. Robotics, this is their third year, and right now they have about 30 students, so they're getting to that point. And I know chess is also really up and coming. And I don't know how many of the students here do chess, but it's a very popular activity in the elementary school level, so now we're hoping to have a lot of 6th grade students participate next year. We have intramural sports, so we have soccer in the spring, we have someone who's running a running club all year long. We've had volleyball in the past. I think we have to find new nets. So it really depends on the interest of the parent community and the students and what we can get up and running. Ideally, we'd like to have one intramural sport per season. We didn't quite achieve that this year, but we'd love to have that happen for next year. And the last club is Math Club, and we've had a very competitive math club that's been running for quite a while. So I know a lot of younger students are really into Math Club. So here's some of the school and student-sponsored activities. How many of you play an instrument? So we do have an orchestra and band, and I hope that many of you will continue playing your instrument. And the band and orchestra meet after school. The students obviously have student government. That's what is called Associated Student Body, ASB. We have some other clubs. Some of these clubs are relevant for some of the older students. So we have FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. I think that's for the high school students. The kids get to learn about, some business principles and making a business plan. Model United Nations, and drama. If you're into participating in plays and performances, we do have a drama club. I think they're going to be doing Beauty and the Beast this year as their performance. And then Key Club and Mock Trial. Key Club is a service organization, and Mock Trial is for those aspiring lawyers in the audience to get experience in the legal field. Other than activities and clubs, there are two major events that we do a year. One is PTSA sponsored, and one is school student sponsored. So the big PTSA event of the year is Art Day. And Art Day is a day where we have a lot of fun art activities, a lot of cooking, some dancing. It's the day after finals. It's a day to blow off steam and relax, and it's completely run by the PTSA and the parents. It needs a lot of volunteers, which is why I'm mentioning it now. The second event is Taste of ICS, and this is a cultural festival. People bring in all different kinds of food, there's cultural activities, and that's totally run by the students. But again, also needs a lot of volunteers. So those are the big highlights. Art Day says after finals, and Taste of ICS is usually in December. I think this year we had it in February, so I'm not sure what the permanent time frame for that is, but they're kind of around the same time of year. Is there a question back there?
Yeah, for the school-sponsored classes or events, activities, are they right after school?
Yes, usually right after school. Okay, so this is the real important stuff. So, student registration day. We have registration day at ICS here on the 27th of August. So we have all the parents come and register. The past few years we've done it by grade level, so we do like 9:30 to 10:30 is 6th grade, and 10:30 to 11:30 is 7th grade, so it's not the entire school showing up at the same time. And there'll be more information about registration day via the newsletter, but that's an important day for you to know for your calendars, because it is here, and we do like the students to show up if they can and get everything done that day. The packet will be online, and all the forms are online. So you print everything, fill everything out, and bring it here that day. And like I said, there'll be notifications going out via the newsletter so you know to print things and when things are ready, etc. Let's see, other info. So the other thing I want to mention is usually the new class has a summer icebreaker where the parents get together to meet, and the kids can hang out and introduce themselves to each other. Usually this happens in the August timeframe, or it could happen in July, and it really requires 2 parents from this group to step up to organize that event. So if someone's interested in doing that and they want to give me their name at the end of the presentation, I'd be happy to take their name. But it's really a good way for the kids to feel like they know somebody before the first day of school. Jeff is going to be the one organizing that, since this summer I will not be an ICS parent any longer. So I left his email up there so you can email him with questions. And the other thing I wanted to mention is we had 2 parent volunteers who helped with check-in. They're actually in the back, Kathy Doolittle and Amy Orler, and they are your parent support reps. So if you have questions for them over the summer or the next couple weeks, you should contact them. We've separated you into 2 groups. We have A through K by last name and L through Z. So you can figure out who your appropriate contact person is. Okay, so I think this is my last slide. So I talked about the icebreaker and registration. September 2nd is the first day of school, in case you didn't know. Camp will be right after that. So camp is the 3rd through the 5th. So 2 days right after school starts. Curriculum night is the following Monday. It's always the same day. And the first PTSA meeting is the 16th, which is the 3rd Tuesday of September. So those are the key things. I know when school starts, all these things happen at once, so I thought I'd share some dates so you can start thinking about what happens in the fall. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to turn it back to Dr. Livingston.
Thank you, Fran. And of course, the reason she's leaving is because her kid's leaving because he graduates.
Senior.
Senior. Wonderful. So that ends our presentation. You're very lucky. You're going to remember this moment